Welcome back to another episode of Iniquitous News. I am your host, Lawrence Johnson. We are back like cook crack. Happy Wednesday, people. And today we explore the man they do not want you to know about. The man that fled the U.S. while currently being charged at a future court date. And will he come back? We do not know. And what is his name? Tom Alexandrovich, the Israeli AI defense leader, best friends with Bibi the bomber himself. And somehow this man was able to commit a crime on U.S. soil in Las Vegas, flee from Las Vegas back to Israel. And who was in the know about this? Supposedly the Trump administration, the Israeli government, the U.S. government, the judge. Everyone is intertwined to get this man specifically off of U.S. soil back to Israel. And the question is, why? And the other question is, why is there not bigger headlines? If you type into Google his name, you would think CNN would pop up, Fox News would pop up, NBC would pop up, ABC would pop up. No, there's recently, just today, a Reuters article. Al Jazeera, they've been reporting on it for a little while. Newsweek reported on it 3 days ago. But this case is almost a week old at this point in time. Now, let's walk you through the step by step. There was a sting operation that was set up over there in Las Vegas to check and catch child sex offenders. Tom, our buddy, dweeb of the century, Mephistophelian character here, was in that sting as one of the perpetrators. Now, what did he do? He was online trying to lure young girls to go with him to a Cirque du Soleil concert and then perform obviously sexual acts with them. Underage 15, 14-year-old women. Girls. Why am I saying women? That sounds insane. Girls. Now, this man gets caught, arrested, goes to jail in Las Vegas. Now, this is where things get very intertwined and dark because Las Vegas judge that oversees all of these things happening is this lady named Chattah, who a lot of people voted against, I might add, and said, Trump, you should not appoint her to be running stuff over there in Vegas. Why? Because she's former IDF and has very close Israel ties. And something else interesting about Chattah is once everything broke loose and now everybody was in the know, all of a sudden she goes on Twitter for her new account and says, oh, Mamdani, cash bail. The person that fled our country, he needs to come back. The person, you know his name, say his name, Tom Alexandrovich. He's in your state and he's Israeli. So why don't you say the Israeli person that was working for the IDF for AI cyber defense security, one of the top people, was a child sex offender and then he fled our country. That should be what this tweet should say. It shouldn't be mystifying or, oh, I don't know who could have escaped. You know exactly who. Put a name on it. Put a country on it. Why? How is it possible? Those are the answers we need. And somehow she then deletes her personal Twitter account where she used to talk about bombing people from Gaza all the time and how Palestinians are getting what they deserve to make an official government account after all of this stuff starts to happen. She's the one that approved, well, she says she didn't, but let him go out of Vegas. And now his future court date is within a month. But he was then immediately extradited to Israel. And even though we may have the greatest ally trait with Israel, we literally cannot extradite anybody from Israel back to here unless they approve it. Another sign pointing to that we are an occupied country. Now, I knew things must have gotten really bad when Sean King himself posted on Twitter threads, very long, going more in depth of exactly what happened with Tom and basically telling you the same story I am now, but then every single thing was deleted. Exactly, right? Did Elon Musk approve that? And then when he starts to ask Grok said, I don't know, I didn't approve this, but whoever was running the community guidelines decided to come in and remove all of your tweets. And this is just about a case about somebody that's a fact sexual offender that was arrested on U.S. soil and now is somehow just in Israel chilling like a villain. And now this is not the first time this has happened, but I've realized that I really need to shine light on this case. And hopefully this is the one that goes viral for us because people need to know who this is and why is he allowed to change the rules. No one else was able to leave jail after getting caught in this sting operation. No one else was allowed to flee to another country, but because he has dual citizenship and because he works for Israel, somehow he's back in Israel now. That's a problem. And the biggest problem is, how did no one see this happening? Why wasn't his visa immediately revoked? How did he just go to the airport, go through security, leave the country, no one bats an eye, no problem? Because if you are part of the IDF or if you are part of Israel, you get special privileges and you live above the law, like Tom here. And the fact that he was running AI cyber defense, think about that. AI cyber defense. So he has most likely access and has seen things that no other person has seen about a bunch of different people around the world, all while being a child predator. It hasn't said that he's been fired. At first they said, Bibi Netanyahu said, well, we just had to, we were dealing with this on our end. But now there's so much backlash because people on the internet are sleuths. You can't just do stuff like this anymore and think people aren't going to find out. And so now the internet is up in arms. Marjorie Green Taylor, she's made very many tweets about like, why is this happening? What's going on? But something about, as usual, you can find out immediately who is paid by the IDF or who are their puppets. Charlie Kirk has nothing to say about this. Laura Loomer has nothing to say about this. Ben Shapiro has nothing to say about this. And you wonder, why might that be? Well, because the IDF controls and they are using this as a propaganda machine and using us and influencers and people in the U.S. You will never hear me say something nice about them. Why? Because it doesn't matter how much money they offer me. That's why they take these influencers and take them on tours and say, we're such a great place, while also doing back-end shady shit like this. Now, I don't want to say that everyone in Israel is like this, because obviously that'd just be a crazy gentrification. But there's something weird about how there's so many articles of even people in Hollywood that are pedophiles and people that were directors and producers and had these high up, Harvey Weinstein, for example, powers of position that all of a sudden flee to Israel. And then they're just safe there. So they commit these crimes and then somehow they're safe there. Just like someone committed a crime, it was in 2008, and then in Israel, he ended up getting arrested and put in prison in 2021. How many years later? Was that 13? For doing the same exact thing that he was doing to women over here, just over there, and then enough people finally caught on and finally got him arrested. But how did he get back to Israel in the first place? And see, this is why they don't want you to know about it, because then a lot of people will start to ask questions of why do they get away with the law? If an illegal immigrant can get arrested and deported while working and paying taxes, somehow this guy, sick, sinner as fuck, can lure someone, a child, to have sex with him, but then get arrested, post bail, and a judge bail him out, basically, and then he can leave the country with his visa still intact and his job still intact, and now he's in Israel, and most likely we will never see or hear from him again unless we keep this story alive. But then it's hard to keep stories like this alive because so much is happening. You see how Epstein's hardly even being talked about. They're not saying anything anymore. Reporters are even asking, because he had Putin, he had the European leaders. He tried to stop this war, tried to stop this war. We live in a 2-week country, so we only got about a week and a half on this. So people, don't forget to hate and subscribe, but share this, because Tom is somebody we should all know about. What the fuck is he up to? We know what he up to, some sick stuff. But why is he in Israel, and why is he not already back? They're our greatest ally, right? We should be able to call up Benjamin Netanyahu right now and be like, hey, yo, that guy that you had working for you, the AI cyber defense, yeah, we need him back and in prison. Now, whatever he gets sentenced to, whatever, I have no idea. But it blows my mind that a man was that easily able to leave the country for an entire party that supposedly is all about kids and all about the children and all about the youth. But not a peep from mainstream media. And it's not the right or the left. This proves to you that the IDF has us in a fucking stranglehold, people. Now, I need y'all to figure out who Tom is. Go onto his LinkedIn. Let's hate on him. And let's post online and just ask questions of, so when is Tom going to come back? When does he have to be back? Who's the person that's going to get Tom? These are all questions we should be asking. Because if not, it will just disappear, as most things do. And next thing you know, Tom's just going to be living over there after finally getting caught. Who knows what he did before that, you know? Now, moving right along, we have Trump now trying to whitewash all of history, as he says in this, maybe the finally saying the quiet part out loud and the closest thing to just basically saying, well, let's just try to say slavery's not that bad. He tweeted and said, I go to my museums and everything's about what's so bad and how slavery was bad. Yeah, that's because slavery was bad. 9 times out of 10, people are going to be like, well, yeah, you guys did kind of enslave an entire population of people just based off their race color and then had them work for virtually nothing, had them living in shitty conditions and would beat them and rape them. And as you can see, started them back about 200 yards in a fucking 500-yard race. But the fact that he's saying this and saying, well, they're not talking about our future. Well, that's the whole point, is museums are for the past. They're for history. You don't really talk about the future when you're in a museum. You say, oh, how did we get to here? And that's his whole point. If he wants people to go to museums and have it be happy-go-lucky. Oh, this was built beautifully by the people of America. Oh, slavery, this was a weird time. They didn't, there was just some aggression, but it was only 2% of the population that owned slaves. At least that's the number we're going with. In the Chinese internment camps, no. Those weren't, no. It was just, China, we had some tensions, and so we had to put them in a play camp. But it's a quick thing. Now, I just want you to think, if you went into the Holocaust Museum and you're just like, wait a second, why this is so bad? Why they talking so bad about Adolf and them? I feel like it should just be like, everything was bad. Y'all did die, for sure. A lot of you guys died, but I think about it. Now you guys have reparations for life. I want you guys to talk about the future. Why would we go to the museum and see the Holocaust Museum and see all this sad stuff? Why the shoes? Why the rings? We should talk about the good stuff. Like, y'all won the war. Forget about all the death. Forget about that. Let's just talk about how good it was moving forward after World War II. Yeah, you see how fucking insane that sounds? That's why this shit doesn't work. It blows my mind. People just, Fox News, he gets on here, he's like, I just want us to be proud of our history. That's the point. We don't have a very proud history. It's fucking racist. Duh. Come on, dickhead. I don't understand. Where's the confusion at? I mean, listen to this.
Like just about every other country in the world, the United States has got a checkered past. I mean, what should we do in terms of our museum? Should we ignore that? Should that be massaged in a certain way to make it less significant? I mean, some of the worst episodes in our history were formative experiences that led us to where we are today, and those typically are reflected in museums.
Yep, I think the fact that we had our country was involved in slavery is awful. No one thinks otherwise. But what I saw when I was going through the museums personally was an overemphasis on slavery. And I think there should be more of an overemphasis on how far we've come since slavery. Our country is a country of progress, and it's the greatest country in the world. And we should be able to take our kids, our students through the Smithsonian and feel proud when we leave. There's a lot of history to our country, both positive and negative, but we need to keep moving forward. We can't just keep focusing on the negative. All it does is divide us, and we really need to unite the country and focus on all the positive as we approach America's 250th birthday.
Tell you people, we this close to just saying, slavery, it just wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Just hear me out. You know what I mean? Rough time for some people, but overall, I mean, we got a lot done. Look how beautiful our world is now. I mean, look at the progress we've made. Oh yeah, segregation ending in the 50s and 60s. It took y'all that long just to come together. But I guess we've just made this tremendous crisis because, slavery's over. Now, moving on to the final parts of the whole entire Putin finanza. And basically, a reporter is asking Trump, he's like, so why didn't you just call Putin? Because Trump was like, man, I called Putin after the meeting, let him know how everything was going. And then he was like, why didn't you just call Putin while you was with all of them? So y'all could just, come together. He said, I didn't want to be disrespectful to Putin. What? Excuse me? Sound like that's your big bro or your dad. What you mean? You're sitting with the European leaders. Hey, you just killed 1.7 million Ukrainians, and we're trying to figure out how to end this war. Do you want to say anything, Vlad? That's probably how I would have let it off. But you ain't want to disrespect him by calling and putting him on speakerphone with the people he's bombing. It's an interesting cop-out. And obviously a reporter was like, well, Caroline, what's up with that? And she got pissed.
If the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that, but why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane.
How does she just always get so mad when people ask honest questions? She just gets in this condescending, I just need to call. It's like the same, it's like the Trump 2.0. Whatever newspaper you're with, I'm not surprised they would ask this question, you're dumb. It's like, nah, bitch, that's a good question. Why don't you answer it? Dumb fuck. I don't understand. It just seems like a very answerable question if you ask me. I don't know. But then Trump had something very interesting to say. All of a sudden, my boy's thinking about heaven. And he even knows he's very close to hell. He said, I heard I'm on the bottom of the totem pole. In a laughing manner, but at the same time, he was dead ass.
If I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons.
See, I told you people, there's something weird going on there. He's getting older. He knows he's about to die, which is why he's trying to increase his net worth, and he's trying to do everything he possibly can, why he's trying to win the Peace Prize, why he's trying to build his own shit at the White House, the ballroom. I don't know if he knows that he's sick and maybe his time is limited, or he's like, I hope I can make it through these next 3 to 4 years, or maybe the Epstein shit's finally gonna catch up with me and then I'm gonna be cooked, so I need to leave like a positive note on my legacy somehow. But it's weird that all of a sudden this man cares about heaven. And then when a reporter asked Caroline that question, she was so happy to answer that one. So, I think he was being serious. Listen to the dick sucker.
I know the president said on Fox News this morning that he's partially seeking peace in order to get to heaven. Was he joking, or is there spiritual motivation behind his peace deals here?
I think the president was serious. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well.
I don't know. Something rubs me about that the wrong way. And it's like, okay, obviously everyone wants to get to heaven. If you believe in heaven, whatever, that's up to you. It's neither here nor there. But for a man to never give a fuck, but all of a sudden start to bring it up in interviews, I don't know. Something going on there. I don't know what exactly, but it's something. Moving right along into the, you already know, G-side taking place over there, Free P, as always. Well, the people in Israel have finally hit the streets, and here's a person straight in Tel Aviv with his sign up saying, yeah, we are committing a Holocaust 2.0 right across the street.
I'm calling the world to help us from outside, because Israel is doing now a Holocaust in the Gaza Strip, worse than the German Nazis did in 1942 to the Jews. And I hope that this time the world will intervene, boycott Israel, and cause Israel to withdraw from the Gaza Strip and stop the massacre and the Holocaust that we are doing. I apologize as a Jew, as a citizen, of what Israel is doing now against the Gaza Strip. My name is Amram Zahavi. I am Israeli citizen, 78 years old. I'm doing the protest for 8.5 years. I got arrested, they beat me, they put me in jail, they stepped on me with the horses. But one thing they cannot do, they cannot stop me of talking against the evil of the Israeli government and the IDF.
I mean, if he's saying it over here, I don't understand how we're not saying it here yet. But I mean, I guess, we're occupied. Now, moving right along, this is very sad, but children graduated at an orphanage in Gaza, and you can see as they're crying because obviously they're sad, because why are they in orphanages? Because all their parents are dead, thousands of them. And this is what happens now when you bomb people continuously for a year and a half and try to call it a war. I know, very sad. And it's just kind of crazy that this is the reality that we're living in. And somehow BB the Bomber just gets to travel around the world and say, well, I'm not that bad of a guy. Trump somehow gets up and says, oh, me and him are war heroes. for B-2 stealth bombing a fucking nuclear plant that you made an agreement with Iran to do. I guess, well, not completely made an agreement, but you know what I mean? Like, then you let him come bomb us, which is a weird thing in the first place. But, I don't know, people, it's like, Israel needs to suffer and there needs to be Nuremberg trials immediately. That's the only thing that could be justification for this. And then Gaza and people of Palestine need their reparations. So any reparations the IDF has been getting from, you know, Germany and from us, it should just go directly to them. And it's so funny because, I ain't gonna say funny, but these people are freaking out about some kids from Gaza and people from Palestine being brought into here because there's nowhere else for them to go. Randy Fine, Laura Loomer, we cannot have them be here. But they have no problem with a child predator escaping back to Israel. That's no problem. Forget the kids here. We don't need any more kids. We just got, you know, the ones that get abused here. Wow. You know, who was it by? What was on the problem then? What? My boy Mamdani, he basically said it and came out straight and he was like, yo, Cuomo is bugged out, bro. I don't understand. He doesn't understand when no is a no. Because Cuomo's like begging on to this last hope of I can somehow win. You have zero fucking chance. Even if you ran for the Conservative Party, zero fucking chance. This is Mamdani versus Mayor Adams. Mayor Adams, he's getting to zero fucking chance too at this point in time. Because dude just, he wants to be an influencer so bad. You're not good at that shit, bro. Relax. I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Iniquitous News. Don't forget to hate and subscribe. Hey, man, share this with everybody because more people need to understand that people like Tom are not supposed to be going anywhere. They're supposed to be in the bottom part of prison and then kick down to the furthest part of hell and kick it with the brother Satan. You understand what I'm saying? Man, you know I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. Stay my festive feeling of sinners and iniquitous all times. No episode this Friday. I'm going to Miami. Shout out to my boy D-Lo. We got to play some golf, do a little fantasy draft. Maybe I'll give y'all some footage from there or something. I don't know. But I'm going to see y'all on Monday. Y'all have a wonderful week. And hopefully when I come back and I look at the comments, this joint don't blown the fuck up because people need to know who Tom A is and why is he allowed to leave the country after committing a crime. Visa's supposed to be, give me that. Think you going? Bye. You got to go back to jail, son. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all Monday. I'm out.
You've just tuned in to another edition of Iniquitous News Network with Lawrence Johnson. Don't forget to hate and subscribe.